All right, I just wanted to do a quick and very succinct screen recording for those of you who A, enjoy it, and B, the other one might be too long. So here's the final section. We've gone through this, and what I'm asking that you do, for crying out loud, is be okay with planning first. I'm getting a sense that when I hear things like trial and error and clicking and trying, that you're just making an effort to look at the screen and figure it out as you go. That's not going to be okay, not only in this project, but in future projects when things get more complicated, right? So I know in that comic strip, some people were talking about trying to get variables and saying it doesn't work. Well, if that comic strip didn't work, it was because you didn't organize it well or you didn't program it well. It has nothing to do with the complexity of storyline. So please take into consideration the idea of writing stuff down and organizing. Your goal is to develop to understand, not just to get things done. And I'm getting the sense that everybody's just trying to get things done and not considering the fact that this is something they need to understand because it's going to be a large part of your career should you become an instructional designer. Okay? So aim to understand, plan, and organize. Don't just do. Okay? And what I say is if you look at this screen, okay, talk about it, think about it. This stuff is only as hard as we make it, okay? So we know that we want to click on these three areas. These three areas have information in a state form right here, color-coded and all, okay? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out which one needs to correlate with which one, okay? So do that first. Do what you know first, okay? So I'm going to click on this one right here. This is orange, so I know that it's going to go to the orange state. So let's double check. Orange is 3. Red is 2. Green is 1. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm actually going to number these just the same too, right? So this is 1. This is 2. And this is 3. Okay? We've done this a million times. So all you have to do is either select the item or you don't even have to. So change the state of what? Do I have it labeled? I probably do. I have it labeled content. But know that if you do not, all you have to do is roll over everything. You see how it highlights? I click content. I know that I named this 1, and I know that the green goes to 1, so I say 1, I say OK. All right? And now, just because I feel like copying and pasting is too complex to follow along with, I'm going to go ahead and do this again. So here we go. Change state of what? I know it's called content. I know that red box is around it. So change content of 2. When user clicks, 2. Okay? Very well organized. I have 2. I know 2. Now I come to 3. Again, don't want to copy and paste. So change the state of content. Excuse me. Change the state of content to 3. When user clicks, 3. All right, now let's go ahead and do that. We've done this a million times. No one should be confused at this point. All right, here we go. Red, green, orange. No big deal. Everybody's okay. All right. So now I'm going to leave it out there. So now we are fine. We are perfectly fine. One thing that I'm going to show you is I do have a slide on here. I have this slide that says, please ensure you've read all the content on the screen before you continue. So you can make the assumption that this slide is going to show if they did not click on all 3 of the areas and attempt to click continue. Okay? Think about that. Wrap your head around that. And the only reason we're doing this is I'm trying to show you options, okay? You are designing this based on how I want you to, right? So if you think about this one here, you clicked on all 3 of these, and then the next button showed up. So we really gated the learner that they even got the impression they couldn't do anything until they did what we wanted. That's one way of gating. This is just another way to gate, and you need to have these options because in the future, when you're working with a company, when you're working with a client, you're going to be designing based on their needs, not on yours. users. You can be suggestive, but ultimately the SME and or the content matter expert always wins. So this is just another way to gate where that next button would be on stage the entire time. When they click on it, they can only proceed if they've met the criteria, or in this case, the conditions, right? So we're fine. We're at the point now where we click on 1 through 3, states change 1, 2, 3. I'm asking that you do a counting variable on this one, okay? I'm asking that you count the clicks. You know that if it's going to be a user-based situation, we need a variable. It's the only way when we're not in the room, when we're not watching them, that we can keep track of what the user's doing. So what I want you to do is make a variable, and it looks like I already have it here called areas. And I'm going to delete that just to show you, right? So you're going to make a variable, okay? We've been through this a million times as well. You want to add a new variable, the plus sign, universal for adding. So click the plus sign. I'm going to name it. I called it areas. I do not want it to be text because I'm counting numbers. It's not going to be true, false. It's not going to be text. It's going to be numbers because I'm counting clicks. By default, the value is 0, and that's okay. So I'm going to hit OK. We're fine. Now, just as we always do, we put an instance of that variable on the stage. You have to verify that it's working, and this is the only way. We can delete this when we go to launch it to the customer, the client, or what the heck have you, but it must be on the stage during development, during preview, during testing, okay? So we know that we're changing the state of, but we're also counting the clicks. We're counting the clicks and recording it in the variable areas. So again, we're going to make a trigger. And then all you have to do is click the drop-down and look at your options. So we know the action is what? We go through all of these, and there is only one in this whole entire list that even has the word variable in it. So if you're using a variable, look for the word variable. And you see it right here, adjust variable, okay? Again, look, the only one that says variable. So I'm going to click on that. And then it says variable. It's asking me what variable do I want to adjust. I want to adjust the areas variable. That's the one that I just made, the one that I know is a number variable, and the one that's going to record clicks, right? So the moment that I pick that, it changes. It asks me, what do I want to do? What operator do I want to use? It defaulted to add, which is what I want, but you can also see you could subtract or multiply or divide. Assignment is the one that we use when we were doing the male and female because you just want to assign a value. In this instance, I want to add. I do not want to add a value of a variable. I want to add the value of a value. So 3 clicks. So this one is only going to be worth 1 when they click on it. I'm going to add the value of 1 to the variable areas. I do not want it to happen when the timeline starts. I want it to happen when the user clicks. And I'm just going to go in order on number 1. Okay? So I know that this is number 1 right here. When they click on this, you can look over in your triggers panel. It is going to change the state of this content. So it's going to show the content. And consequently, it's going to add 1 to this variable. Okay? We have to do that for the other 2 as well. Again, it will not cut and paste. I'm simply going to make a variable. Adjust the variable. Which one? Areas. What do I want to do? I want to add. What do I want to add to it? I want to add a value of 1. When user clicks, not 1, I already did that, 2, and then hit OK. Now, I want to do it a 3rd time. Adjust the variable. Which one? Areas. I want to add. What I want to add to it? A value of 1. When the user clicks, not 2, I already did that one, 3. And then I hit OK. So now we've got this set up. We know exactly what we want to do. We want to click on each of these. We want content to show. We want to record that click in this areas variable. I'm going to preview this. And here you go. There's the variable, 0. Green, 1. Red, 2. Orange, 3. So everything is fine. We are recording exactly how we want to. Things are showing up exactly how we want to. Now we need to organize the situation. The situation is that they can only progress onto the next slide if all 3 of these are visited. Now don't look into the details just yet, just know the obviousness, per se, of this. So if that variable areas is equal to 3, this next button should work as next buttons are supposed to. If it's less than 3, we should show this layer. So what we're saying is 2 separate things. We're saying if it's 3, move on. If it's not 3, show layer. So for the first thing that we're going to do is we'll say if it's not 3. And if it's not 3, we just determined we want to show that layer. Okay, so we're going to say show layer. Pick which layer, not when timeline starts, but when user clicks next, right? So that's fine. We understand that they're going to show that layer when the user clicks next, but on the condition to the idea of the variable areas being less than the value of 3. So just look at it. I want to show that layer of work when the user clicks next only if that areas variable, the one we're using to record clicks, is less than 3. Less than 3 means they did not visit each of these areas, okay? Which makes it very appropriate for this layer to pop up and say, please ensure you've read all content on the screen before you continue, okay? So now we test it. Preview this slide. I click on it. 1. 1 is less than 3, so when I click next, unbelievable, the layer shows up. I'm going to hit close. 2. 2 is less than 3. I click next, this layer comes up. Okay, and I'm going to close. 3. 3 is equal to 3. So when I click next, the layer does not come up. It needs to progress to the next slide. So that is where we know that we can add a variable and say, jump to slide, next line, when user clicks next. Okay, we know that. We've done that a million times. But we want to show a condition. We only want that to happen if they visited all 3, which in turn means the variable areas will be either greater than or equal to 3. So again, variable, area, operator, greater than or equal to the value of 3. Okay? Now you ask why I choose greater than or equal to. What if they, well, we're not going to, but hypothetically based on how things are going, if they continue to click through this and it's at 4, that means it's greater than. But if you were only to say equal to 3 and they clicked again and it was 4, it would not work. Okay? So there we go. Jump to the next slide and you can see how everything worked out there. I'm going to go ahead and preview this. Not yet, actually, because I want to wait. So we're at a really good point where this is all worked out and mapped accordingly, right? The thing is, as we know, that I could just simply, if I wanted to, click, 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 okay? So some things that we could do. We could, if we wanted, just simply disable this, right? So I could, if I wanted, say we're going to use number 1, we'll start with number 1. I could say, change the state of 1 to disabled when user clicks 1, okay? Now we did that in the comic strip after they clicked yes or no. We didn't want them to click on yes or no again or change their mind, so we disabled it. So now I click on this once, I get a number 1, and I get my green. I click on it again, nothing happens. See that? So it's absolutely disabled. Okay? One thing that we can do, if you'd like, is let's go ahead and put a visit in here. Or do I not have to? And I'm going to. So I'm going to say edit states, and I'm going to add a visited. Okay? And I don't have to do anything, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll just put this a little bit lighter. Okay? So the visited state is the have factory where to have you just a little bit lighter. So what I can say is, I can jump back up here to 1, so I'm going to get rid of this disable. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to go to this add 1. So the good thing is I have the opportunity to put a condition on anything. So I can say adjust variable, areas, add 1 to the value of 1, the user clicks 1. But what if I say I only want that to happen if the 1 is not equal to visited, right? Do you see what I just did there? So just think about it. What I'm saying is I want to add 1 to the variable areas, but I only want to do that if when you click on it, the state is not visited, right? So let's see if that works. Here we go. I click on it once, I get to see everything. I click on this up here, it changes. I come back down here, it changes back, and I get to see the content, but it did not add a third 1. You see that? It remained at 2. So again, I can come over to the orange one, it went up to 3, and if I wanted to see the green content again, which I do, I can click on this, and it changes to green, but it does not add to this. So this is one way to kind of let them continue to explore the data should they not want to. Excuse me, should they want to, but it not mess with our variables and it not mess with the idea of them clicking orange 3 times or red 3 times, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. All we're going to do is add the condition to all of these, adjust variable areas. So I want to have all of that happen as long as 2 is not equal to visited. Okay? Okay. And of course I want to do the same thing to 3, where I just simply want to say, do all that unless it's in the visited state. And then just for consistency, let's go ahead, edit states, visited. And this is just for the aesthetic consistency of the whole thing. Okay, so now we're good. Now we have to add the badge. So we already have everything kind of figured out if you think about it. We already know that this next button is not going to work and function correctly until that areas variable is equal to 3, right? We know that. So we can use that to earn our badge. So if we're going to allow them to leave this screen when the area is equal to 3, that must mean we're going to allow them to earn their badge when this areas is equal to 3. So to do that, we're going to go way over here into our badge, right? So you have this scene, and we're going to simply say, change the state of 2, right? Because 1 we already did, to earned, which makes sense, when the timeline starts. But only if the variable of areas is greater than or equal to the value of 3. Okay? And I deleted that other one, so let me put that in there just because it changes state of 1 to earn when timeline starts. And that is when the variable sections is equal to true. Okay? So now let's preview this whole darn thing and watch what happens. So I'm going to put my name in, Brian J. Seeley, and I'm going to continue. I'm going to pick, and I don't believe this worked correctly. I think I broke it, but here I'm just going to click badges. Ooh, I didn't learn anything yet. Okay, so I'm going to click next. I forgot that I didn't do that well. No next button. I'm not going to get a next button until this is true. Remember that? So I click on this. I click on this. I click the third time. The variable is now true, and my next button is now available, which also means when I click on badges, I earned this first badge. Hooray. So I continue on. Now I have this new. I can click at any pace that I want. I'll click this one. Then I'll come over here and click this one. Then I'll come over here and click this one. I want to review. Hey. Oh gosh, it's not working correctly. What happened? This will be nice to work through, huh? A little error that we didn't see coming. Add one, add one, add one. Add one to one. Okay. Hey, why didn't that work? Let me try it again. One, two, two. Oh, it's not working on the third one for some reason. If oh, I actually have to put 3 and not 2. Good catch. Good catch. Nice work through. Let's just double check that this is working, which I should have done before I went and tested it all, right? 1 green, 2 red, 3 orange, green, red, orange, still remained it at 3, and we're good to go. So close. Now I'm going to preview the whole thing again. Put in my name, Brian J. Seeley. Click next. Click female, click next. I know that doesn't work because I did that weird thing from Philip's suggestion. 1, 2, 3. Variable is true. Next button shows. Check out my badges. Yay. Come back. 1, 2. What in the heck now? Wow, this is a real true to form kind of thing, huh? What in the heck? Why does that keep changing? One, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to try for the 3rd time. And again, this is what happens. I'm clearly rushing through this. I'm not being mindful. I'm not being organized. So consider that. Go back, look at the details of things that you're doing, you know? So here we go, preview. Holy cow, hopefully 3rd time's the charm here. BRIANJSEELY. Next, hello Brian J. Seeley. I'm going to pick him this time, so it looks like it's working. There you go. False. 1, 2, 3. It's true. The next button shows, and I earned a badge. Yay. Can I finally earn this one? 1, 2, 3. Hooray. Then I can go back. And then I can see my badges. Yay. I earned another badge. And that also means my next button works. Cool. Okay? All right. So that is it. Here's a nice little recording, a little bit more succinct than the 3-hour video that you had before. Just consider organizing, planning, thinking, understanding before you begin. I went too fast. I know what I'm doing, and I still made some mistakes. So just be very mindful of the details. Email at will, but know that you need to turn in this document of which all of these badges should be earned. Okay? So you can think however you want to do the 3rd one. It could be just simply putting in the name correctly, or just make sure that your female-male character works. Make sure that the true-false here works, and that the counter variable here works, and then you end up on this beautiful stage at the end. Okay? That is all.